Coming up, out in bad standings inside the Banditos.
I was the guy that changed the rock machine over into Banditos in Canada.
If you've ever read a book and ever liked the experience of reading a book, the festival's for you. The J.K. Rowling event is a prime example of that.
Dumbledore's ill-fated infatuation was a key part of Book 7. I wrote a complex plot with plenty of mystery and surprises because that's what I like. And I wrote about characters that I was deeply interested in and engaged with. So I assume there are lots of readers out there like me.
Biker clubs like the Hells Angels, the Outlaws MC, and the Banditos are usually making headlines for all of the wrong reasons, while the actual happenings inside the clubs remain a mystery. Well, videographer Lars Peter Bjornsson met with a former member of the Banditos, and he brings back a few secrets from the inside.
Last time that I was in Canada, your Canadian immigration people chased me down at the Travelodge in Kingston, kicked in every door until they found me, and then kept me in jail for a week. I was just there to visit for a couple of days.
Just visiting? Maybe. But if you're known as the guy who turned the notorious rock machine into the even more notorious Banditos in Canada, well then perhaps it's no wonder that the cops come knocking if they know you're in town.
I didn't set out to write a book. I just set out to write down everything that had happened to me so I could still remember it. And it just somehow magically turned into a book.
What does that mean to be out in bad standings?
Out in bad standings is a club slang. It's supposed to be punishment. You're excommunicated from the club, banned from the club. Nobody from the club can hang out with you. Nobody can associate with you. I actually left in good standings, and my out situation was changed. They were petrified I was going to go to another organization.
I bet you have some good stories.
That I do. I was the guy that changed the rock machine over into Banditos in Canada. I was a high-ranking member of the Banditos and spent some interesting times with some of the people in Canada.
Interesting times indeed. That's referring to the infamous Quebec biker wars involving the rock machine, Banditos, and the Hells Angels. News headlines are the only exposure most Canadians have to these motorcycle clubs.
It's a very small majority of the club guys that cause the trouble and the grief that affect everybody in the club and also give the false illusion to or perception to the public that the club members are all bad guys. On the other side of the coin, 75, 85% of the guys are just regular working guys that have families, jobs. Maybe they're guilty of having a little too much fun on the weekends, but they're just like regular guys you know every day. What really drives my book is the fact that it tells the other side of the story about the legal side of the club members. It's not a where all the bodies are buried type book, because that's not what I was involved in. My job was to run legal business for the Banditos and do things in a non-violent fashion.
Tell me, and I think a lot of other people that see people who choose a life of biking and motorcycles, what is that passion?
Well, for me, it's born into you, and that's the way I've always felt about it, and everybody I rode with is the same way. You're born this way, and it's a genetic code. It's just the way you are. If this was 100 years ago, we would have been outlaws out in the Wild West. Most people work all year to have a holiday. I lived my life for 30 years. Every day was a holiday. But I did exactly what I wanted to do every day of my life.